Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining in. This is the second episode of Wisdom Talks, a Vedic perspective. The topic for today is anger management. And this is a very relevant topic in today's times because we see that people in general and students in particular, they have very less patience. They get angry, upset, annoyed, irritated for the smallest of reasons. So we will see what is the root cause of getting angry and what our Vedic scriptures say about anger and how to solve it. So let's start. So that's the agenda for today, and I will be covering the first two topics. Anger, as we know, is a very intense emotion, and it is in response to a perceived threat. We can have the roots of this emotion, this intense emotion, is in situations where we are irritated, frustrated, annoyed, disappointed with somebody or with oneself, depressed, or if somebody shows disrespect to us. All these feelings creep in because of our unfulfilled ambitions and expectations. And the more we get angry based on the triggers to develop this intense emotion, the more it becomes a habit inside us. It becomes a sanskar. So that's called the krodh sanskar. And we know that when we are angry, it's like it's like holding a burning charcoal ready to throw on somebody else. But we know that it burns the one holding it first. So anyone who angers you controls you. So that's why it's very important to manage anger. What we mean by management is that we are in control of our anger. It's not the anger which is controlling us, but we are in control of our anger. And controlling means that our intelligence is in full control of anger. Because if our intelligence is not in control of our anger, then the anger controls our intelligence, and then it becomes very destructive. So we need to be masters of our anger rather than our servants, because if we are masters, then our anger could be used for good purpose. It could be productive and beneficial as well. So the next thing is that if we are angry for a higher purpose, then it is beneficial. Uh, in today's society, it is considered to be angry is considered to be a heroic quality. It is, but we need to use it for good purpose. Otherwise, if we are not in control of it, it takes control of us, and it can wreak havoc. It can destroy beautiful relationships. It can destroy our career, the opportunities which we have, and the respect which we get from others. So there are a lot of things at stake. Anger, if it is for the purpose of self-reformation, which means that if we lack something, we can be angry, and that anger gives an impetus to reform ourselves. It also could be to jolt somebody out of ignorance. We see that parents sometimes get angry on their kids, on their sons or daughters, and they use this to discipline the kids for their own good. It is not for any other reason of animosity, personal grudge, ego, or something else. So we need to use anger as an instrument for a higher purpose and not become ourselves its instruments, because that's very destructive. We have an example of Hanuman, who was in the service of Lord Ram, and he went to Lanka. He saw Mother Sita's condition and Ravana's behavior, and he became very angry. And with being in control of his anger, he burnt the entire Lanka, but he was in full control because he did not burn the Ashok Vatika. So we see that anger could be used for some higher purpose. At times, we see that uh, uh, there is an injustice or brutality which is committed on others. For example, we see somebody bullying a helpless person, and we become angry. if such experience makes us feel outraged, that is healthy, because it means our heart is not deadened by apathy and lethargy. So anger could also be used to defend principles of dharma. So what is the root cause of getting angry? It's basically, it's because of three mentality of ours, which is controlling mentality, enjoying, and the perfectionist mentality. We see a lot of people who are control freaks. They want to control everything. And for example, an elder brother wants to control the younger one. And we need to acknowledge that we all live in a society of coexistence. So we cannot control everything. We see that a shopkeeper is dependent upon its customers for its existence and vice versa. The students are dependent upon teachers and their friends. So we cannot be individually successful. So we need to learn we need to learn and acknowledge the coexistence of everybody in our day-to-day life. It could be the enjoying mentality, which means that, for example, a fresh graduate after finishing his college thinks that after he joins the job, he will enjoy. But when the situation comes, it is a lot different than what he supposed to be. And then he feels frustrated and gets very angry. So when we see the enjoying mentality in each and everything, and we don't care for others, we may have shocks, and that can lead to anger. Also, there are people who are perfectionists. They see perfection in everything, mostly others. They see perfection in others, and they get angry if it turns out otherwise. So these are the three things, the root causes of why we get angry, because we try to control, we try to enjoy, and we see perfection in each and everything, mostly in others. There are four stages of how anger builds in. First, it's a disturbance, then it becomes an irritation, then it becomes anger, and finally, resentment. Uh, Resentment is the extreme where we develop this revengeful attitude towards others. Uh, we see there are a lot of people who are sadistic, and they have very acute attitude to take revenge on others. So we need to be very careful of how things are disturbing us, irritating us, and we will see when how to control each and every stage. Uh, Finally, the vent for anger, we see that people either explode or implode. When I say explode, it means that they can be very violent to an extreme. And we know that when we are angry, we don't have control on what we are saying, and the words hit more deeply than arrows. There are people who don't explode. They don't. The lava doesn't come out immediately, and they implode inside. So when they are angry and they cannot express themselves outside, they withdraw. They have, and because of this withdrawal, they have health issues. Their focus and concentration is affected, and they lose intelligence. So these are the root causes and how people vent out their anger. I'll take a verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, which says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangaste Supajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Pijayate, which means that while we contemplate the object of the senses, for example, we can object of the senses means the material objects through our five senses. For example, we are attached to a particular model of a mobile, or we love to eat a particular type of chocolate. So that's the contemplation on the object of our senses. So then we develop attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, which is the extreme desire to get it. And from this extreme desire, which is called lust, anger arises. So thank you very much. I will come back to you in the next part to let you know, to discuss about how to control anger. Thank you. Hare Krishna.